My name's Thomas Waddle. This is the Whisky Sour Hour, and we're joined by Caledonia North Ayrshire Wilds centre and captain Luca De Simone. How you doing?
I'm brilliant. Happy to be here.
Good man. Listen, this is a big deal. You coming here, I really appreciate taking time out your heavy day to be coming on. You were at your sister's wedding earlier in the week, still recovering,
Yeah,
recovering that much. You had to go to physio.
Slightly.
But no, listen, I really appreciate it, mate. Obviously, a bit of background. We worked together.
Yep.
Get chatting about ice hockey one day. Turns out you're an amazing player, and I was like, right, this has to be a thing. So I appreciate it, mate. How's things?
Brilliant. Obviously, season's just not long started, so wouldn't be a start of a hockey season without a trip to the physio.
That's it. Start as you mean to go on.
Aye, that's it. But nothing unexpected really. It's just a wee bit of maintenance, like standard hockey player stuff. Like I'm in there getting my calf kind of looked at, and she's like, your hips are quite tight and this is quite tight. I'm like, what about that then?
That's it. She's grafting for me a lot. That's what that is. That's what that is, mate. Try to upsell you. Obviously, you're coming on here, and the bit of research kind of when I started getting into it. Obviously, for speaking to you, I mean, I grew up watching kind of ice hockey, and it was a big thing for like my mum. It was dead easy to kind of get into, and then following the kind of Scottish National League and actually seeing the quality of team that you have and the quality of opposition you have. It's amazing. It's unspoken about. I think it's very under the radar. It's one that I would like to kind of help promoting that. So what's it like? You know, that what's that league like in general for you? Do you find like the travel a big thing? Like what's the kind of big thing for you about it?
I think like in terms of travel, it's one of those sports that, especially for like, you might play football when you're younger and the furthest you'll travel is maybe an hour, right? But like when you're brought up playing hockey, you're just used to the travel. So once you get to like SNL, it's not really like so much a factor. Obviously we'd spoke about like there is longer away days. We now get Whitley in the league, which is 3.5 hours. We've got Aberdeen, which are about the same. So they're kind of the more challenging side of it. You do find that you've got a wee bit of fatigue by the time you get there or whatever, but in terms of like you've got your Dundee, Fife, you can kind of deal with that. It's nothing that you're not used to like through years of playing anyway.
No, that's it. So obviously you've been in the game now for how many years is it you've been playing?
So I started when I was 6. I'm 21 now, so
right, that's no too long. What's that like setting out? Like what was it that drew you towards it? I mean, 6-year-old, that's a big choice. I mean, growing up in the west of Scotland, football, even rugby to an extent is like a big thing, but ice hockey, there's a lot of kind of investment you need for that. What was it that drew you towards it?
It's actually quite an ironic story. So I was in school, I think it was like primary 1, right? Obviously most young people here play football, so I've been playing football. A older couple, Ian and Anne, they ran the Learn to Play at North Ayrshire for long before I was born anyway, I think. They'd come out to my school, they'd done like kind of like showing us the kit and telling us about the sport. So it was something I was interested in, but like you say, it's a lot of commitment, it's a big investment, so I kind of got to the point where it was like one or the other really. And this is where it gets funny. So obviously I play the game middle of the winter, must have been -10 playing football. I asked my coach if I could wear gloves, and he's like, no, you can't wear gloves. I walked off the park after that game and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, it's too cold. So then started playing ice hockey.
That's it. I mean, but then again, if the coach isn't going to let you wear gloves at ice hockey, it's no frostbite you're worrying about.
Sport to another.
How does that like how do you move up the rungs in that? Because obviously you're doing your learn to play. You then, how long were you doing that for? Like, is that a couple of years?
I think I want to say it really all depends on how fast you can develop. So there's kind of like basic points you want to get to before you get into any sort of kind of organised hockey. So after you learn to play, you go into like under 10s, which you start playing kind of small games, more like the actual game side of things. Whereas learn to play, you're kind of focusing your basics, like your skating ability and basically just being competent on your feet on the ice. So it really just depends on how quickly you can pick it up. So I don't think I was in learning to play maybe like a year max, and then you start getting into that kind of organised side of hockey and working your way up through the age levels.
And was that always based at Auchenharvey kind of sports centre?
So I think my first year was a Magnum.
Oh, nice.
What a place.
That was the place.
It was what a brilliant place, but unfortunately just...
No, that's it.
It just didn't make any money anymore, I don't think.
I think it's probably... It had its kind of best days behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, the ice discos and that can only keep you afloat for so long. And then, so was it from there that you transitioned to Auchenharvey?
So then the full club, like as a whole, moved to Auchenharvey. I think at the time Auchenharvey had ramps and stuff for skating.
So whenever like your ice discos were a big thing back in the day,
Yeah.
and I remember going to Auchenharvey, and the big thing with Auchenharvey was it had like a kind of hill in it almost. It was like Beath Juniors have like a really high-sided corner. It was almost like that equivalent to that in an ice rink. So did you find transitioning there was like difficult, or were you quite happy with it?
I was just so young that it didn't make a huge difference to me. So obviously I then moved to Auchenharvey. I went through under 10s. I started playing up under 12s while I was still in under 10. I think round about the year I was going into first year under 12s. There's a wee bit of politics behind it, but nothing that is worth getting into. But basically that caused me that I got to a point where I was at, I think, to go like any further I want to try and start looking at other teams basically. So round about that time was when I first started getting into the Scotland system. Mm-hmm. I'd started getting into Scotland under 11s, started looking for other teams. I'd played Scotland with a lot of boys for Dundee, so that was kind of my first choice. So under 12s I moved to play for Dundee, played almost my full junior career until my last year at under 19s at Dundee, so obviously I can't thank my parents enough for putting up with me for that many years, travelling up and down to Dundee, but...
I know, could you know I picked like, you know, like, we're Miami, no, Dundee on a Saturday, you know?
Yeah, honestly, up there like, at least probably 2 times a week for all those years. Yeah. But the system there was fantastic. So many good coaches, like great hockey players, and it was a brilliant system. It was so beneficial as well. See, for being part of the Scotland system, and then you were playing with those same guys week in, week out. It made such a huge difference for the Scotland and for club level.
There's that big continuity kind of thing there, isn't there? Coming for that. So like, when at what point do you like start looking a wee bit closer to home and get the opportunity to kind of join in with the Wild? When does that kind of come about?
Well, obviously we spoke about we'd worked together in the past, so
of course,
that was like 4th year COVID hit.
Yep.
I'd kind of in my head I'd got to the point where I was like, school's just not for me. It's not. I can study enough to get myself into an apprenticeship, but I'm never going to commit to another 4 year at uni after another 2 year of school. So started looking for apprenticeships. Obviously started an apprenticeship in Pierce when I was 16, but long hours, it's a tough job as well. So kind of got to the point where it was like COVID had hit. I had a break in play where I wasn't playing anyway, so I was kind of like, it's time to, you know what it's like, it's adult life's coming in, so...
You hear people talking about it all the time, you know, even like, we'd obviously mentioned earlier, like football players and stuff, you hear people saying like, oh, you know, have something to fall back on in that, and like an apprenticeship, like what you're doing with the fabricating side, that's like, you know, bread and butter for this kind of stuff, and like obviously you've done that hard graft to get there. I mean, at what point do you then kind of start looking back after the kind of lockdowns have kind of lifted and stuff? Do you start thinking, right, I'm going to start getting back onto the rink?
So obviously once the lockdowns had started to lift, we still couldn't get into the ice rink, but I'd obviously spoke to North Ayrshire about coming back, and like I wanted to move back. So we'd started kind of like pre-season training in the gym, obviously with all our social distancing and the stuff that's mental to look back on now.
See when you see people with masks on, you know, because people were doing it before that, but it gives me PTSD. You're
it's
like, what?
Crazy. But so we done that for maybe a few months, and then the rink started to open back up. I think we had like a summer kind of pre-season-ish training, then our regular season started back, and that was 4 or 5 years ago now. And I've never looked back. I've been playing ever since. So but at that point I was still 18, so I was still playing like the National League, which Scottish National League, which I'm in now, but I was still playing under 19, so I was playing who knows how many games a season. So we played under 19s. I think we won the Scottish Cup. Then that was my junior career was over. Like I'd pretty much won about as much as you could win. Like through Dundee and through like when I went back and we'd won the Scottish Cup. So then it was full time National League. We played a season. Just try to break myself into the team. It was tough. It's such a different style of hockey going from juniors to like that senior level. It's a big step.
So is it more physicality, or is it just the speed of play, or is it everything?
It's sort of everything. Obviously you're playing against grown men. Like so you're 18, you think you're a grown man until a grown man hits you and then you're like, oh, this is something different. I think literally my first pre-season game, somebody hit me, spike of pain into my ribs, and I was like, nah, something's not right here. I never actually went and get it checked out because typical hockey player stuff. I was just like, it's fine, there's nothing they can do for it anyway. So like that was when I knew I was like, this is a different game. I had a season at that sort of like that my first season in that league, my second season I'd kind of broke my way into being like a regular player, and they'd obviously asked me, would you want to be one of the assistant captains, which obviously I was only 19 at the time, so that's such a massive deal for me. It's an honour.
It's an honour, absolutely.
Like,
to get that.
100%, especially some of the talent we had in the room, it is such an honour. Played another season as the assistant captain. Actually, the start of that season, my captain got a season-long ban. So, so it was between me and my other like alternate captain. We kind of were what was left. So
I have to ask. I don't know if you can answer. Like, what goes on there? How do you get a season-long ban?
For a sport like hockey, it's a pretty hard thing.
I was going to say.
It was I'm sure there's a video out there somewhere, right? But basically, it was some sort of. It was actually our old captain that they'd get into some sort of. I would say fights, probably putting it lightly. Some sort of maybe attack, you would say.
So is it something that Happy Gilmore would be proud of?
Aye, I would say so. We're going into too much detail. Aye, probably.
That's it. No, I mean, like that's that's enough of that. You know, just in case we start getting libel claims are against us, or slander even libel's written. But yeah, so like playing in like SNL, you mentioned earlier, just the kind of vast distances you need to cover. Yeah. What does, like, we can speak about home games and stuff because you've got one up tomorrow. What's an away day like for you, especially when you recently did Aberdeen?
Yeah.
What is that like? Like how? So if that's like say a Sunday morning, how does that work for you, or whenever you're playing?
So we tend like for what's classed as an amateur league, which I think's sort of insulting to the real standard of the league.
Absolutely.
Because there is money in the league, and I think it seems like almost a dismissive term when it's not really. It shouldn't be an amateur league, but we do tend to play games at night because there is teams that get pretty big crowds for the level. Like you go to Aberdeen, without fail, it's sold out every time. I think their rink holds like 1,500 people. Yeah. So there is a big crowd.
Well, I mean, we'd said that, like, we're talking about, like, I think people don't realise just the history, especially in Scotland, and I don't know if that's to do with, you know, like, people going over to from Scotland to Canada and then coming back and stuff, because, I mean, you've got teams like the Whitley Warriors in 1857, but you've got Paisley Pirates in 1946, you know, like, that's, like, older than a lot of football teams that you think's got a big history, and some teams playing at Braehead, I mean, Whitley Ice Arena will probably be about 3,000 as well, like, big teams. When you're going up to these places, is there like trepidation, like playing in front of a crowd that big?
Oh, 100%. Like the point I was actually going to
sorry,
I keep getting sidetracked here.
It's so fun.
But obviously the benefit of playing at night is you've got a day to prepare.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're maybe playing, like, I know a lot of football teams will play kind of like mid-afternoon time, so it kind of cuts that preparation. But if you've got a game that's maybe 6:30 at night, then it gives you that extra time to prepare, which is quite nice. But obviously we're talking about big crowds. Like, I remember being 16, 17, you're going to Aberdeen away, there's 1,500 people. You do something wrong, the place is booing you.
Aye.
You do something right, the place is booing you. Like, it's an intimidating thing. Like,
and it's not like, you know, like you've got guys at the glass, you know, like
Yeah.
hitting the glass.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a running track between you. I mean,
No.
they're on top of you,
Yeah.
and they'll let you know, like you're saying, if you're. I mean, I suppose it's a compliment to you if
Yeah.
you're getting booed because maybe you're
100%,
scoring or
you know
or
you've done
assisting and
something
that.
right. Aye.
Absolutely. So like when would you leave, like setting off for like kind of North Ayrshire? How does that work then? Like,
So when we were away to Aberdeen, obviously last Saturday that was, we were away 12:30 in the bus, and that was you till 2 in the morning. We got back to the rink, so it's a full day almost that you're away.
and do you have, like, once you get there, have you got a bit of time to kind of prep? Like, what do you do, like, when you get there? How do you get into the kind of mindset to play?
Well, obviously, like we'd spoke about, like I was at the physio this morning, so like I think when you're 16, 17, you're quite like, I'll be fine, like no warm up, like you're just in, you don't think of it. But some of it's like I've noticed, especially like the last couple of years, for me it's like getting to the rink and preparing properly. It's eating during the day in the way they are, like trying to focus on eating the right things and getting there, getting as good a stretch, as good as a proper warm up as I can get.
So what is the fuel then? What would you be taking in? What's up? Because obviously you play centre, have to have a bit of a head in your shoulders, and you can tell that, you know, young but still quite experienced there. What's a good meal then to set you up for anybody that's listening?
Well, I don't know, maybe coaches will be listening, so I don't know. I think it's you just want to, I think, see when you're travelling, it's all well and good saying that like you're going to be eating chicken and rice or salmon or pasta, whatever it may be. If you can get that in, I think 100%, if you can get that prepared, get that ready, you're setting yourself up for a good day. But I'd also say that if you don't have time, you don't want to be starving yourself because you don't want to eat the wrong thing. See if you can get fuel in your body, you're going to burn it off.
Aye.
Like, I think if you can focus on getting good things in, then good, go for it. But get fuel in your body no matter what you're doing.
That's
like,
it. You just, like you're saying, there's a lot of travelling there. You want to be able to eat something that you can have on the fly that's easy to digest and probably, you know, gives you that energy.
You don't want to be the guy that breaks out tuna pasta on the bus.
No, nobody's doing that.
That's a fine.
I could imagine, you know, like the only thing worse than that, and see the pilchards and tomato sauce, like some nutters eat them. Like I just couldn't. That's the worst. So no, like that's it. So you're going up there, you get there, you're doing your stretching. Like, is it a case of these, once you're ready, like you're practicing, is that you, or do you take a bit of downtime before then, kind of go over game plans?
So we like to obviously get in, get our warm up, and then you're in. You want to be ready as soon as possible. That way you can get a team talk. You can talk about you've obviously practiced against whatever team you're playing, like the Wednesday before your game, but you like to get those last kind of things in about who you're playing, or just getting everybody kind of dialed into the game. But I like being, I'm mega organised, that's my thing. Like, I like being in the zone pretty early, but every player's different. Like, I think as long as you're comfortable going into the game, then you've done the right thing.
No, good. And for somebody like you, how do you get in the zone? Are you headphones on, just zoning in, or are you like chatting with folk? Are you going over game plans? What's your kind of role there?
I would say I've kind of got like a point I reach where I'm like, right, block everything else out. I like the atmosphere of the room. I like, because it does relax you a wee bit, that kind of dressing room atmosphere. So I've never really been like the kind of headphones and that, but I do get to a point where I'm like, right, that's enough of the kind of carry on side of things. Like, if I'm talking, I want to be talking about the game. Like, good. I like getting kind of in that mentality.
I know, that's it. And then, like, when you're out there, like, are you doing like kind of coaching on the side when, you know, obviously being the captain? You must be quite vocal out there. You have to be. It's the kind of,
it's one of those ones that, like, I think every person that's in any sort of kind of leadership role, not even like so much captains, like we've got like sort of older guys in the team, or even just good guys in the team, good players. I think anyone that's in if you think you can help somebody, then you should be vocal. It's just about putting it across the right way. Like,
Aye.
I've never been like, I'm not going to shout at a guy. Like, most guys know when they've done something wrong, but if you're a younger guy, like, I like speaking to them, but it should be like a conversation, not like a, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong.
Aye.
Like, but so obviously we go on the ice, we get another warm up before the game starts. Then we've got, like, we're kind of team talk around the net before the game starts. But for me, I don't go too much into any sort of detail. That's just about getting the boys up for the game at that point.
You've done the work through the week, you know, you should be doing that. And then, like, obviously, you play your game. What's the kind of afters like of that? Obviously, you know, a trip out to Aberdeen's, like we've mentioned, it's brutal in that. Is that a case of showers down the road, or do you take a bit of time there? Like, what's
literally, we were in the shower, straight in the bus, like, because the bus driver's like, I want up the road.
That's it. And then, like, coming back, is it one of the ones, like, how are you for a traveller? Do you still like to stay awake, or are you one of these folk that can fall asleep kind of anywhere? Or?
I definitely could fall asleep anywhere. Like, I remember my first away trip to Aberdeen when I was like first getting into the SNL, and I'd done a Saturday shift in work.
Aye.
And then drove straight from there to the bus. Got on the bus at Linwood, and I was literally like, I had blankets, pillows, straight up the back of the bus, slept the full way to
So you just
Aberdeen.
brought your snuggies and all that, all just like up there, that's it.
But that one we were away on Saturday, we sat, you want to be nice and calm on the way up, but the way back, obviously we ended up, it was a pretty bad defeat, but it wasn't a terrible game all round. We'd had maybe a slightly ropey first period, but nothing that we couldn't have come back from. We had a decent second period, we'd got 2 goals back, we were kind of back in the game, and then just a slight bit of game management in the third period lost us it. But I think it's that bus trip back, it's about not being too down about it, and I think having that time together after a game is good to kind of decompress and speak about what's happened, or just kind of not be in your own head. Whereas sometimes, like, maybe you've got a home game, you've had a bad game, the team's had a bad game, whatever it may be, and you're up the road and you're sitting in the house and all you're thinking about is you having a bad game or what you could have done better. Whereas if you're travelling, you've got that time to kind of spend with your teammates and decompress, which I think is an important thing.
And do you take a lot away for, like, you know, winning's one thing, but like a defeat, you can learn probably more about what's went wrong, and you can adapt to that, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like I went through juniors, and some of the score lines we put up were just crazy numbers, and you don't learn anything for that.
Aye.
The team you're playing against don't really learn anything from it either when it's stupid scores. But I think if you come out of a defeat and you can't learn something from it, you're probably doing something wrong. I
know, absolutely. I think, as I say, growing up watching hockey, I don't think it's kind of commonly known to a lot of people who don't watch it just how quickly. I mean, like, see, like two goals, 3 goals, you can actually turn that around quite quickly. And obviously, like you're saying, game management, it's not just about as well, like, you know, running the ball into the corner and that. It's because there's nowhere to hide. It's about, you know, like, clock management as well, you know, because it stops, and it's
like, there is a real thing of, like, when you're on the ice, there is no hiding. Like, if you're 1-11 in a football game, you can kind of get away with, like, I'm having a bad game, let's just get the ball to somebody else for a game and reset. But if you're in, there is no hiding. There's probably never a guy further away than 4 foot for you.
Aye.
Once you've got the puck, you're lucky if you've got 4 or 5 seconds max. So there really is no hiding. But it's just, it's not even so much the on ice as well. It's the sort of control your emotions. So obviously, I'd said it's sort of a ropey first period, and you go in. Now a lot of the guys are down, and they're not really. They've kind of lost that switch for the start of the game. You have a decent second period. If they comes in, they're like, hey, aye, we're doing good, we're doing that. And it's just trying to kind of keep that level.
Aye.
So you've had a bad period and you're not too down. You've had a good period, you're not too low. you just want to stay that kind of nice middle ground.
No, but that's it. I mean, like, I think like head loss is a big thing, and I think in hockey as well, because you've got that kind of almost like, how would you describe it, like almost like an axe over the goalie's head, because if he loses a couple of goals, you may be pulled. It kind of it does hang there, but you know yourself, you see crazy scores, and sometimes it's just like crazy shots are going in, and you're like, look, the hockey gods were against us today and stuff. And how do you manage that? Like, so obviously you get home, and I know you're saying you're in the bus and stuff. I imagine when you say you're quite a organised person, how do you like compartmentalise, like, right, that was a bad defeat, but this is what we can learn from it? Like, do you go back and watch tape, or is there a way in which that you do it? Do you write it down? How do you go about like taking that in?
For me, it's like, I think it's just about speaking to your line mates. Like, if it's something that you know you've done wrong, then you've got that in your own head. You know you've got something to work on. If it's something as a line that you could have done better as a whole, then it's something you want to work on in training. But I don't really have any sort of like writing it down, or it's just sort of in my head. I think every player's different. We do have like game footage that you can go back and watch, but it's almost kind of imprinted in your brain, especially when it is something you've done wrong. It's like you've thought about it that much that you're not going to forget it.
Aye.
But I think every player's got different ways of sort of thinking it through or whatever. But for me, it's just about speaking it out with your teammates after it happens and just working on it in training. That's all you can do.
That's it. Just like, getting the repetitions in and just cracking on. So, well, with this week coming up, obviously you said like amateurs and stuff. Like it's a disparaging remark to really call it, because it's no that. I don't even. I think part time has like connotations where it's no, but I mean, like, you're having to work full time hours and then fit the time in. So what does a week of training look like for you? How does that get broken down?
So it sort of depends. We can either be training twice, or sometimes it's only once, sometimes it's twice. It sort of just depends on if there's something like mega specific that we want to work on that's maybe a wee bit more slow paced. It's a bit more sort of like putting game situations together. Then we like to get an extra session to do that. Whereas we're session on a Wednesday night, it tends to be more kind of fast flowing, like getting yourself ready for the game sort of things. Whereas that extra session's sort of more breaking down what's happened at the weekend into sort of game scenarios. Then obviously I've got gym sessions in between there, trying to just keep on top of my fitness.
And obviously you play at Auchenharvie. Is it Auchenharvie gym you use?
I go between there and the Portal.
I know I used to use the K Leisure. I always used to like looking over the rink for the cardio machines are there, whether or not it's changed.
Yeah.
I'm no 100%. I've not been in a while, but it was always good. I actually used to go down and get one of the, because when you have your K Leisure card, you can get a wee session of skating in. I had to get these like wide, like they're no very cool. Like, I was wanting like a nice pair of Bauer, like maybe red ones or that, and end up getting these blue because I've got really wide feet.
The blue wellies.
That's exactly. But having wide feet's a worst, man.
Probably not been sharpened since about 1995.
Well, I know. So I don't really want to think about it in that. I tripped over them the other day, because we're moving and that. That funny when I was like, God, I was like, I really need to get them sharpened because they are dull as a butter knife. But so you've done that. Obviously, the league itself, we spoke about the distance and stuff, but having a team, obviously yourselves, Caledonia Oil, North Ayrshire Wild. What's it like having a team so close to like with Kilmarnock and that? Obviously, you won the derby, which is a big thing. What is the atmosphere like for that? Because I mean, like, going away from home, hockey fans are quite baying for blood a lot of the time anyway. Is there a wee bit extra sauce when it comes to playing a local rival?
Aye, definitely. And I think like over the past few years, there's like Kelly's had some really good results against some really big teams, because the rink's a hard place to go. It's small, and they're training on it week in, week out.
Is it the Galleon they play?
Yeah.
Aye.
So it is. It's a tough place to go, but you always want to beat your local rivals, and they've had their results against us, we've had their results against them. Obviously, we had a brilliant start to the season for us. Like, I think it was 12-3 against them.
That's the opening game of the season.
Opening game of the season.
That is. I mean, that's a doing.
Yeah,
that's what it is. But so like, what's that like? So like, you've just started the season. With the pre-season for you, when does that start? Like, how does that kind of...
Well, we were actually fortunate enough. Obviously, there is clubs with more money, more resources, so most clubs up stop for the summer. They don't really train. They take maybe a month or two break, but we were pretty set on that we wanted to train right through the summer to get that edge for the start of the season. But obviously, we don't have income coming in if we're not playing games, so for us, the club made a big commitment to commit to paying for the ice for the full summer, so you do start to kind of dial it into more serious training maybe like a month before the season starts, but we did train right through.
No, that's really... But that's what it's about. It's obviously paying dividends first game of the season. A win like that, let's like like you're saying, like Pee-wee kind of scores, but you've worked hard and it's. I mean, surely you must look back on that and going, those reps we're putting in the ice are paying dividends at the start of the season. Big game tomorrow, Whitley Warriors at the time of recording. How are you feeling about that?
Well, obviously it's their first year back in the league.
Yes.
From I don't know how long ago they played against Scottish teams regularly, but from what I heard, they're going to be a strong opposition. They're going to be probably up the kind of higher end of the table, so I've got no doubt in my mind it's going to be a tough game, and for what I've heard, a pretty physical one. So I think it'll be a tough game. Do I think we can go out compete? 100%. I'm looking forward to it. I think as well, like, so you've had 5 seasons playing against the same teams, so to get obviously Solway's come into the league this year as well, and Whitley, so just to play against a new opposition will be something interesting.
Did they take the place of somebody else, or has it just been an expansion?
It's just been an expansion.
Well, no, that's really good.
We did lose a team though, because we used to have Dundee Tigers and Dundee Comets, but they merged together into Dundee Rockets.
I mean, so like it's always sad when you see something fold, but it's like an amalgamation's quite.
Honestly, I think I don't even know if I'd go as I wouldn't say fold, because I think it's worked out really well for them.
Oh no, absolutely. That's what I mean. I think it's sad when you see a team fold, but the fact that 2 teams have like actually merged together. Although I don't know how a Tiger and a Comet make a Rocket.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I think that's another one. Like, we obviously spoke about the history that is in the league.
Oh, 100%.
I'm pretty sure the Rockets, I don't know for definite, but they've got a pretty big history in Dundee. I think don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they used to be a professional team in Dundee. And I think they've got a good bit of history, and that's where the name came from.
I do have I have the information in front of me here. So in 1963, originally, and then it's kind of went to like 82, and then I think or 87, and there was a gap there. I think they've kind of took that name back, probably similar to the way the Winnipeg Jets. Even though it's not the history you both have.
Yeah,
West of Scotland. Let's not talk about that. But that's what you're saying though. I mean, like Paisley Pirates, 1947, and I mean, before we went on in that, I was like, I used to like before like you had eBay, and it was hard to really actually get any kind of American sports kind of memorabilia. You had to know somebody that knew somebody.
Somebody was away on holiday.
Actually, my neighbour, and this would have been about 2006 or 7. Funnily enough, the house we're in now, before I got her house, it was a lady called Ella. She went and visited family in Canada, and you're like, oh, it'd be cool if you got as a top. And I sent like a bottle of like, I think it was like Glenmorangie or something away, or Glenfiddich. And she came back with this top, and it was a hockey top. It was a Maple Leafs top, but it was like heavier than anything I've ever worn. And it turned out that the family she was staying with, it was like an equipment guy that worked at the Maple Leafs. So I've got this like, I mean, you wear it, see if it gets wet if you're out raining, man. It's like a workout, it's like a weighted vest. So no, it was always like that. And it was ages and ages ago. I had an Air Eagles top. We were talking about that. So I think the history hockey in Scotland is like it's underrepresented, underappreciated. 100%. Just because it's. I mean, you're mentioning as well, like obviously Dundee. I mean, Dundee Stars. I mean, like, it's Bray Head's kind of biggest rival. It's crazy. But you've also got the Capitals in your league who
are a former elite league team.
That's wild.
It's crazy. Like, I remember, like, when I was obviously young, a lot of good Scottish players had went and played for the Caps. Then I don't know what happens, but
I think there's a level in there, like, and it's like the money becomes, and it's like the same with anything. It's the same with any sport outside of Rangers and Celtic. Really, I mean, like it's difficult with outside investment if it's no there.
Yeah, 100%, and like there's some like big money teams in that league. You've got like Sheffield Steelers and Belfast Giants that have got like stadiums that you couldn't imagine.
Well, you go to Belfast, and I mean, you pass is it the Odyssey? I think it's called, and it's like. It's got like all the banners up. I mean, to be fair, Braehead, like it's their arena now, isn't it? So that's a pretty cracking arena.
Sheffield's is stunning as well. It's a huge big building.
And the finals always take place in Nottingham, isn't it? The Motor Point, it used to be called that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I mean, there's like some like huge teams out there. When you're doing it, obviously I always knew using North Ayrshire Wild, but being Caledonia Oil. Having that named sponsor now, I mean, that must be like that's quite good. Knowing that the money, you're getting money put in that's exciting.
It's something that like Paul Fuller, who owns the company, we can't thank enough for his support over the past probably, I think that's 2 or 3 seasons now. He's basically came to us, he said that he likes the way we're trying to do things. We're focusing so much on developing young players into the league rather than bringing players from outside. It's something that you don't have much of a choice of when you're on the smaller side of like income, so it's something we really need to focus on is developing young players, and that's something that Paul's bought into for the start. He said that that's what he likes, that's how he wants us to do it, and he's happy to support us as long as that's how we're doing it, and we can't ask any more than that.
That's it. See if you've got like, I think you've got somebody that's clearly passionate about it, and is buying into the dream. That's all you can ask for. With obviously this game tomorrow, what if somebody was wanting to go? How would they go about doing that? Is it tickets at the door?
Tickets on the door, yeah. Easy as that.
Nice one. That's it.
No booking in advance. Just tickets on the door.
And what time's the face off at?
I'll actually double check that. So I don't get into trouble.
Amateur.
So I don't get into trouble from my manager for saying the wrong time.
Don't turn up early or turn up late even, that be.
I know what time I have to be at the ring, but don't know what time everybody else gets there for.
But that's because you're in the zone, you're not really thinking about it, you know what I mean? You'll be just staring into a wall.
Let's find it here. Knowing my luck, I'll not be able to find it on my own page.
I'm not even going to edit this out just so people know that this is on you, Luca, you know what I mean?
Right, see if I can find this here.
So you've obviously got that game coming up. At what time would that be? Oh, I thought you had it there.
No.
So
let's see, I'll find this.
Nah, you'll get it. You'll get it. I imagine it would be around the 6 o'clock mark, 6:30 perhaps.
I think you would be right. We've actually not had a home game this season.
So is this your first time at home ice?
Yeah, this is our first time on home ice.
Nice one. So see for obviously like the people arriving, what can they expect? If they're there at the right time.
Yeah, I've actually just found it now, luckily enough, right? So we're a 6:30 face off at home.
Super. So see, just
in my head, I'm like, I'm there for 4 o'clock, and then I'm like, what time does the game actually start?
That's it. It's your evening then. It's taken care of. So if you are a fan or somebody that's just wanting to come to the game, what time would they arrive at? Like, what would you recommend?
So if we've got a 6:30 face off, we're on for warm ups at 6 o'clock. So if you're interested in just seeing how a hockey team warms up, then I think if you've never seen it before, it's probably pretty interesting to see. That's usually 15-20 minutes, then we've got an ice cut and then the game starts. So if you can be bothered watching us warm up, then it's worth it. But
no, you obviously, it's interesting seeing it, because I mean, obviously people are that used to like a wee 15-minute break in football, or I think is it 15-20 minutes in rugby as well. But the fact is, Hughes goes off the rink, it's three quarters. You go off, obviously the Zamboni comes on. That's an exciting thing in itself, you know what I mean?
That's my nephew's favourite thing to watch, is the Zamboni going round the ice.
I remember having, back in the day, it was like NHL 94, I think it was, so it was like the game that kind of set it off, Sega Mega Drive, and Zamboni would go by, and every so often he'd give a wee wave, and I remember losing my mind, this wee pixelated hand just waving at you, man. I think it was actually one of the hockey games as well back in the day. I think it was like NHL 2K. It was Zamboni racing and stuff, because it is that important to the game, you know. But obviously you've got all that. You're doing it. First game of the season at home. Two away games. Are you looking forward to being in front of a home crowd?
looking forward to being on just home ice, just somewhere where you're comfortable. You've trained there all summer. You know how to play your rink. It's obviously it's always better being at home. It's comfortable. Like I said, I'm 15 minutes for the rink at most.
That's
so
perfect, isn't it?
you've got no travel. You've got your full day to yourself to prepare at home instead of being on the road. So, but it's like you'd ask the question about like somebody coming, maybe even if it's their first game. It's something that I will say is you might not understand the rules, but I've never heard of somebody coming to their first hockey game and not enjoying it.
Aye.
I think it's one of those sports, the more you learn, the more you enjoy it in a different way. But to see it for the first time and see the sort of speed and the contact and the physicality side of it is interesting enough to keep you going until you understand it.
No, definitely. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there when you talk about hockey. It's an easy one to follow. It's puck in the net, 1 point. It's no basketball. There's a 3 point line. There's 2 points, and you get your penalty throw or free throws. Same like rugby as well. American football. They're all quite difficult to follow at a base enjoyment level. Like hockey and football are very much similar. Like it's easy.
Puck
to
goes
follow.
in the net. It's 1-0.
And then a red light flashes and
Yeah.
he loses her mind. But that's exactly it. And I think that is how it's so easy, especially for, again, Central Scotland football daft. It's really easy to follow that, and that's how the likes of the likes of your Bray Heads are getting big crowds because people are like, want an alternative that is actually really kind of easy to follow. Obviously, you're playing Whitley Warriors. This is your first home game. How over a season, how many games do you play?
So every team in the league you play twice at home and twice away, plus Scottish Cup. Obviously, that depends on how far you make it throughout the season. Then at the end of your season, you've got your playoffs. That obviously depends on whether you make the playoffs. That's for my own personal goals, but I would imagine most of my teammates would agree that that's sort of the bare minimum is making that playoff.
That's the non-negotiables, get to the playoffs.
At least the first round, but getting to that playoff weekend where you've got the big tournament in Dundee's, that's where you want to be.
So that's what I was going to ask. So what's the format like? Because growing up, obviously, I don't know why I found it hard to understand how the playoffs work, but it's actually, I love the idea that because you can have a bad game and then you can turn that around.
You've still got a chance to win it.
So what's the playoff format for you guys?
So the playoff format works as it might have slightly changed this year, obviously because of the addition of 2 new teams.
Course,
so we're still sort of waiting to see how it goes. But as far as I know, it'll be the likes of, I think last year the team that finished last didn't make it, so that it was even numbers.
Right.
And then it was sort of first the last place in the playoffs, and then worked its way down second to sort of third last. And it worked that way. You play once home, once away. If you win that kind of 2-sided fixture, then that's you into the playoff weekend in Dundee. And then that's semi-finals and finals all played in the same weekend in the same place.
So you play your semis on the Saturday
And the finals
on the Sunday.
It's a brilliant atmosphere because you've got pretty much everyone's fans there. It's a brilliant weekend.
No, that's similar. But obviously, we mentioned the Elite League because they obviously hold theirs in Nottingham. It's a unique kind of part of the sport. I think having that is, and forgive me for being ignorant. Is that have you been to the playoffs before?
So I think in the 4 or 5. I think this is my 5th season. So 4 seasons that I've played, we got there once. I think it's only once. We got Aberdeen, who were a phenomenal team, and we were lucky enough to, I think we came out with a draw and then a win away, which was such an upset. And I think if you ask an Aberdeen player, it's probably still spoken about today, like pre-season, like let's never let that happen again. But for us it was such a huge achievement, and to go to the playoff weekend, I actually went to the playoff weekend last year just to watch. As sort of a wee bit of motivation to be like, this is where I want to be, like this time next season.
Under the bright lights, that's it. And is that your goal then, just to get there, or the whole team I suppose, get there, and then just after that it's gravy. You're kind of seeing where you can go.
I think for us it's just about progression. Like anyone that's watched our league will know, like, the past few seasons, we've been on, like, obviously we'd spoke about this, that opening game against Kelly, we've been on that side of the defeat more times than many in the league, like, and it's a tough place to be, but for me, the resilience that some of the boys have showed throughout those years is what's helping us develop now, because if you can go 2 and 3 seasons taking sort of heavy defeats like that, then shows a lot of character in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are now starting to get to a point where sort of where younger guys are more developed. And I mean, I say younger at 21, but that's almost sort of a veteran in our team.
No, but that's it. That's maturity and all that. And you can tell by the way you talk about the game, Luca. You know, it's there. So
we do have a mega young team. But obviously, a lot of our younger guys are starting to sort of get that experience in the league, and I do think we're getting to the point where we're starting to challenge teams a lot more, like, regularly.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'd like to be pushing sort of into that mid-table, or at least competing with that level of teams. This season could be too early to expect that, but I think you always want to challenge yourself. So
that's it. You need the core to be there.
For me, that's where my head's at. Is you want to be challenging every team. You want to give every team a hard game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's new. I think that's maybe the next step in our progression, is sort of pushing our way up the table. But like that playoff weekend, I think that should be the bare minimum, is just trying to get there.
No, brilliant. Obviously, we'd mentioned you play centre. That's the kind of, you know, the brains behind the attack.
Some people would disagree with that, but
what's that like for you? Obviously, you said you were quite malleable when you were younger. You played a lot of different positions. The positions being obviously your defence, left wing, right wing, centre.
Yep.
Obviously goalie, but they're crazy. We don't talk
I
about
wouldn't
them.
be trying that.
We don't be doing that. Goaltenders.
I don't mind jumping in front of the occasional puck for a block, but doing that consistently is a different sort of mentality.
No, listen. We'll get onto it in a wee bit, but your TikTok and that. There's one, and I think I've shared it. You know, a lot of folk, like, I just know, but I've shared it on my TikTok as well. Just the goalies being crazy one, and with yourself in it is peak comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, when did you know that you were solidifying yourself as a centre and you weren't going to be in another position?
I think for me, obviously we'd said I'd played a lot of positions when I was younger. It's something I sort of prided myself on, is being able to adapt to whatever my coach at the time had wanted, especially when I was playing upper level. So if I was under 14s playing 16s, it's something that a coach was looking for, was the fact that you could play anywhere, which sort of sets you up for playing that centre role, because it is, for anyone that doesn't like watch hockey, it is sort of that. It's almost like centre, defensive, attacking midfield. It's your full midfield almost in football terms.
It's not even like you're saying that and folk could be like, oh, you're a jack of all trades. It's not really. It's like you need to be, you know, controlling the attack, but if the defence needs you, you're right back there as well.
And don't get me wrong, like, hockey's a 5-man sport, attack and defence, but from a centre's point of view, you want to try and be right up there with the attack, but you also want to be one of the first guys back to defend. So playing so many positions when I was younger is sort of sets you up for that kind of job.
And is there a player that you kind of mimic their game, or you're like, I would, you know, I'd like to be like that kind of? Is there somebody that, you know, I mean, NHL or even in the kind of SNL, or somebody you've seen play back in the past?
Well, he's going to like this one because he's actually on a line with me now, right? But it's a guy, Scott Cowan. When I came into the league, he was actually my coach at the time, and like, it's something that I think a lot of players do watch NHL games and stuff, but it's so hard, like the late nights and stuff. So I think you look towards kind of players in your league, and when you're younger, you maybe don't. Maybe this is just me. You maybe don't focus so much on adult players, and you're just focusing on developing your own game. But when I got into that league, like Scott, I couldn't have been any better with me. He was trying to kind of blood me into the league and showing me the way of doing things. He's actually now my winger, who, like, honestly, I've playing with a guy like that with so much experience. He just makes hockey so easy, and you couldn't ask for a better guy to play on a line with, but he taught me so much when I first got into that team, and yeah, he's a good player to learn from. Even still now to this day, it's a guy with that experience I learn a lot from.
No, that's it. And like you're saying, you've got that connection already. It's like, I'm sure you'll be able to pass and just know where he'll be, without even thinking about it. And that's the difference a lot of the time, that you're not having to look, because if you take your eyes off the puck for a minute, it's like you're getting
bang
smacked. Obviously, I just wanted to bring this up because I was talking to Lauren before I was coming on. She was like asking, how do you know Luca? And I was like, explained obviously the work connection and just, sometimes. And I'm alright saying this now, we probably spoke longer than we had to.
Yeah,
the tonnage was definitely down when I was doing a safety inspection.
Production was down when you were in the factory.
So, we'd obviously spoke about it, and kind of around the time or just before you were leaving, there was a video circulating, nothing salacious, I can tell you, but there was a cracking fight that was shared, and this is like shared through the offices as well. Did you see Luca?
Literally, like directors coming into the factory being like, "I just seen a video of you fighting in the office."
That's it. You don't have on the weekend, all right, mate. That's all right. How, like, obviously, what you can, if you're alright talking about it, what gets to the point? Because knowing you're very level-headed. You said yourself, you try and keep the emotions low. At what point do you think, I'm dropping my gloves here? This is going.
Do you know what? I wouldn't say I'm known for it, but in my team, you tend to have that sort of older or bigger guy that does your fighting for you. But
you can say the name if you want. It's a goon.
Yeah, a goon or an enforcer. But
maybe goon's not the PC term anyway.
But unfortunately, we just had such a young team that there wasn't really anyone to do it if it had to be done. So it's just something that I'll never say I'm the best of fighters, but I done what I had to if I had to. Especially for younger guys in the team.
Absolutely.
But for that, you'll be able to find that. It's on Hockey Fights UK.
I will get that. I found it dead easy. I'll make sure to. I'll share that.
There's obviously, if you read the comments, there's a bit of a debate of who won, right?
If we went to the judges, man, you definitely, man, 100%.
I'm happy to say I held my own enough, so I'll take that. But that was actually, I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but it's a guy, John Dolan, I was fighting. He's another guy that's been right through, like he's played at Dundee, a fantastic player. He was actually played for the Comets when I was in the Dundee junior system, so a pretty unbelievable player, to be fair. Probably not usually much of a fighter, but the reason that one broke out was they're sort of people call it like a code in hockey, and one of the boys in their team had sort of done, don't know if people know what this is, but like a Michigan. It's like a sort of lacrosse move where you pick up the puck on your stick and try and put it in the top of the net from almost behind the net.
Is it Trevor Zegras does that?
Yeah, he's famous for it. He's almost mastered it, right? Zegras has actually just signed for the Flyers, which is my team.
I didn't want to assume, because I was like, obviously we'd spoke that much in that, but I remember obviously because I'm sitting here with my Blackhawks shirt on, and I'm not doing that to be bad, I actually forgot. But you were saying about the time difference, there was nothing worse than I got back into hockey about kind of 2005, and I'll be honest, the Blackhawks were terrible, and I got to enjoy a bit of a dynasty in the kind of early 2010s.
Patrick Kane era.
Oh man, Patrick Kane, Taze, Patrick Sharp, Marion Hossa, it was the time to be alive. But the first cup we won was against the Philadelphia Flyers, Big Mike Richards. Yeah. And and it was just what a team the Philadelphia Flyers are. But I didn't want to assume in that. But so this lacrosse move has been pulled out.
So that's sort of, I wouldn't say it's against the code, but I think it's something that if you do it, somebody's probably going to take some sort of not offence, but somebody's going to make you answer for trying to do it. So one of their boys had tried it. I seen him trying it, and I thought, I'm taking him out before he gets a chance to do it, basically. So I've hit him, clean hit, nothing bad in it, nothing that you wouldn't expect. But if you're a player that's doing something like that, you tend to be on the sort of better side of your team. So you then have sort of someone else in the team's going to take offence to you hitting
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So basically, I'd hit him, turned round, he was standing there, and next thing you know, then you'll see the video. But
Aye.
it's one of those ones that I was doing my job, he's doing his bit for his teammate. It's nothing. There's no real animosity in it. Like most of the time,
Aye.
you do get somewhere. Sometimes something's happened or the referee's missed something, and it is sort of red mist. The two of yous are just fighting. But for that one, I would just say that I'm doing my bit for the team, and John's probably doing his bit as well.
I think it is. It's just part of like the hockey. I mean, if you ask anybody in the street, ice hockey, they don't actually talk about ice hockey. They talk about fights.
Talking
and
about
that.
fighting.
I
Or
know.
if somebody says I
went
went to a
boxing
fight.
match.
Yeah, I went to a fight
Boxing
in a hockey
match.
game. Broke out.
But no, it's kind of is what it is. Just obviously, you're talking about an unwritten code. Is there any other ones that would kind of any other kind of misdemeanors that you would do? I mean, icing the goalie is quite a
Icing the goal. It's one of those. I think that's pretty much a thing in any sport. Is that
Aye.
your goalie's your protected guy. So anything to do with the goalie, obviously, it's a contact sport. You're going to make hits,
Yeah.
right? But if players think that you're deliberately targeting, say like sort of rookies or your younger guys, then it tends to be an older guy who'll at least put a word in. But if not,
Aye.
some people would say make you answer the bell. Like it's something that I do think most good players will be cautious of who they're playing against. And don't get me wrong, if you think somebody's going to get by you, then you're going to take the body. But you don't want to be targeting those kind of players.
Yeah.
The same way that when I was coming up through the league, you're sort of afforded that slight, maybe half a second to at least get your head up or watch what you're doing because I had you there. Like, some guy takes a puck off you, but he could have took the body.
Aye.
And he's like, watch what you're doing because I could have took the body away from you there. So it's just sort of, you're going to make the hit if you need to, but if they think you're targeting those kind of younger guys, and
it's like it's wrong, but it's no done. If you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Aye, but no, you've seen some of the hits, and you know yourself. Sometimes you think you see a hit, especially somebody who I've been watching hockey with people who don't really know, and you'll see like Ovechkin, or there was a PK Subban one. You know, middle of the ice, wipe somebody out.
was that the one on, was it Marchand, when Marchand
aye.
went in the big mazy, and he's just away, and you're like, oh, he's going all the way, and then it's just bang.
It's horrific. But you see that, and then they'll be like, "Oh, ref," and then you'll hear the commentators be like, "Oh, clean hit."
Yeah.
There is that. But I mean, you see, there is like obviously, like you're saying, it's a contact sport. There is.
I think that can be like, it's a hard thing for us to understand at times, because even from when I first started playing on like contact hockey, it was under 14s, when I was at under 14s, the rules have changed so much as the years have went on that there is sort of grey areas. It used to be when someone had the puck, if they played the puck and you were within probably 3 strides, then you could make the hit. Whereas that sort of period between them playing the puck and you being able to make the hit is sort of changed as the years have went on. It really has to be they're in full possession of the puck now. So it can be, you watch like the sort of NHL biggest hits videos on YouTube, and 60% of them would be penalties now. But that's also something that can change from referee to referee, or you could make the same hit 3 times in a game, and one of them you get a penalty and 2 of them you don't. So it's something that I think every player's dealing with now, is trying to find that like correct hit to make. But it's sort of controversial actually, the hitting rules now, because the way I look at it is, before you knew if you had the puck and there was a guy anywhere near you, whether you played it or not, that guy was taking the body, so you just braced for it. Whereas now you're sort of like, is he going to hit me, is he not? So I think in them trying to make hitting safer, they've actually made it slightly more like unsafe, if you want to call it that, because you kind of don't know whether you're going to get hit or not, which can create that grey area. But it's just something you have to
It's adapt.
Yeah,
It's adapt and survive.
I think as the years go on, players are just going to be, that's how the rules have always been. So it will not be an adaptation for younger players. And I think in the long run, is it going to benefit? 100%, I think so.
I think, again, we kind of brought this up a few times, just obviously living in a community or an area that is so football dominated. The rules very rarely change, and if there is, there's a lot of kickback. I think hockey and rugby especially are very malleable and will change the rules, especially to protect the players, obviously.
Yeah,
horrific accidents with necks and that now. Is that something that you have had to take on with the neck guards? Is that something you wore anyway? Because I know it was a controversial kind of one.
I think a lot of players would say that it's personal choice. For me, it's not something that up until you were 18 you had to wear one anyway. So, and then when I got to maybe 17 they changed it to 21, and then as I got to 21 obviously that tragic accident had happened, and then they were mandatory for all players. So it's never really something that I had to adapt to wearing. And what I will say is, since that rule's been brought in, the technology of them's got better. They're lighter, they're thinner, and they're made of better quality material. They're now made of Kevlar, so they're cut proof rather than these big bulky neck guards. So I think it's never something that I've had to adapt to. I wore them anyway, and if anything, it's just made the technology better, so it's probably made them easier to wear.
It's kind of one of the ones. It's almost like, especially I don't want to say macho, but it's like a kind of heavy kind of sport. It's the optics of it. It's like, oh, you're wearing that. It's like you're almost it's safety at the end of the day. It's the whole thing with like the kind of halo helmets in the American football now. It's like they look pretty ridiculous, but they're only going to look better. But it's there to protect you.
It's like when they brought in, I don't know the terminology for it, but see the sort of halo over the F1 cars.
That's exactly what it is. The halo,
and everyone was like, "Oh, that's terrible. The cars look shocking." You're like, yeah, some guy ploughs into a barrier at 200 miles an hour, and that saves his life. Then
it's already been proven. You have cars flipping over and that, and it's the same with you guys.
100%.
It might, it'll probably go unnoticed, but the fact is that there'll be less accidents, and people are safer playing a game that they love. You should never go anywhere to be hurt playing.
Like, there's always going to be pushback. Guys don't want to do stuff, and I understand that. And at NHL level, it's a choice. It's still a choice. I don't know if they're going to bring in like a sort of grandfather rule where if you were in the league and you didn't have to wear one, you don't have to wear one, but if you're coming in, then you do.
Well, look at it back with the helmets. I mean, you look back at old videos and you've got a mix because guys came in, had to wear them, guys didn't wear them. But yourself, like, why would you know? I mean, it's that kind of butch macho.
Well, you even look at the NHL now. I don't know the exact stats in this, but I think as of last season there was still 4 players with no visor covering their eyes.
That's crazy.
Because they were grandfathered into the rule, but there's plenty of players that are grandfathered in and went, I'll protect my eyes. But it's that sort of, it tends to be I think it's sort of bigger, like your enforcer types that have got that sort of reputation.
No, definitely. Let's be honest though, I don't think Andy's look cooler than Ovechkin with his silver one.
He's tinted visor.
That is like the coolest thing ever. And they took it away. Oh, that was like marketing genius. But no, like it's all about safety and it's all about adapting, and it is something because I mean, even growing up, the fighting was that prevalent that everybody knew about it. Even now, it's like it's kind of a rarer occurrence, but if anything, to me, that makes it more special because it's so rare. You don't see them that often.
When you go to a hockey game and you see one, you're like, oh, I've got to see one.
I know. But it's always good. But rivalries are big for that. So that one's that's what it's all about, really, the passion. If you were somebody nowadays that was looking to get into it, it doesn't matter age, if you're young or even if you're somebody older, what would you recommend doing?
Well, for me, especially if you're young, it's just about going and trying it. Like you say, it is a big commitment, but it's not a commitment you have to make straight away. Most clubs that you go to, whether that be like my home team, North Ayrshire, or when I was at Dundee, I'm sure Kilmarnock's the same, even though I would rather you didn't go to my rivals. But it's just either send an email, you go down, like they'll have kit for you to try, they'll have kit for you to borrow until you're ready to make that commitment. It's just about going down and trying it. You might go down and you go, well, this isn't for me. I would say stick it out because it's a hard sport to get into, but once you get into it, it's rewarding. But It's just about getting down there and trying. It's the same as any sport, but if you're an older player, I know plenty of guys that have started when they're older. There's recreational hockey leagues that are more than happy to take on older guys and let them play. If it's, you don't have to be the greatest player in the world, but if it's something you're interested in, go down, contact the recreational team and try it out. There's options either way, but I would say the younger year to try and get into organised hockey, the better. Aye. So if you wanted to go down and try it. And
is there days on for the kind of like juniors, kids at North Ayrshire?
So for North Ayrshire, our learn to play is on a Saturday morning. If you go on the Facebook, there should be emails to send if you're interested, or if you want to come down and ask questions, and it's on a Saturday morning.
That's brilliant. So with everyone looking forward now, obviously you've got your game the Mora. Prep is well underway, obviously, with your physio and that. Sorry, by the time this goes out, folk will not be listening, so they'll know any secrets when they hit. Is there any kind of big games coming up like that you're looking forward to?
We've got a pretty decent run of games. I don't know the exact order, but I think we've got Whitley Bay at home, obviously, tomorrow. I think we've got Dundee Rockets at home the following week. I could be wrong, but I think we've then got maybe the Rockets away. And I know we've got Solway and Fife in a sort of run of games, but we know what we're up against. We've played a lot of these teams before, apart from obviously Solway and Whitley, but the likes of Fife and Dundee, we know what we're in for. Fife is mega organised. They've got a really, really solid junior system. You tend to find most of these players have played together their full career. They've played the same system their full career, so they're mega organised. Somebody we can definitely challenge, and it's a game I look forward to. It's never a game that's got too much animosity. They've got a good sort of batch of older guys that understand and are quite forgiving in terms of like our younger players, and they've got a good batch of like younger guys coming up. There's never too much animosity. It's always a good game of hockey. Rockets, we know the kind of game it's going to be. They're an absolutely phenomenal team. Quite a few of the guys I played juniors with at Dundee now play for the Rockets. Actually, my friend, my line mate for Dundee, has now just signed a 2-way deal with them and Dundee Stars.
That's amazing.
So I went and watched him in his first pre-season game a couple of weeks ago. Played his first professional game, I think that was last week. I think he got 5 minutes ice time, got his first professional point, got an assist. So I think actually I watched an interview with their coach after what would have been his second game. I think they'd had a pretty bad game, and they had asked the coach if there was any highlight in the game, and he was like, well, I would say the only highlight for the game was Rio Page. He went out there and they put in a shift, so it was pretty cool seeing like somebody you've played with all your junior career go on and do it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thriving.
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing, man. Listen, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope the Mora goes amazing. I'll be pulling for you. If you want to get in touch, obviously Facebook, Instagram, at the Whisky Sour Hour. If you want to contact us, it's contact@thewhiskeysourhour.com. It's been a cracking episode again. Thanks very much, Luca, for being on. We look forward to catching up in the future, mate. I'm sure it will be there.
Aye, thanks very much for having me. It's been brilliant.
Well, I've been Thomas Waddle. This has been Luca De Simone. You've been listening to the Whisky Sour Hour. Cheers.